My teacher accused me of using ChatGPT, so I pulled every grade she ever gave. What I found changed everything. Mrs. Taylor called me up after class. She was holding my essay with a big red 0 on it, and I already knew this wasn't going to be good. Before I could even ask what was wrong, she said, "You used ChatGPT to write this." I just stood there because I wrote every single word myself. I told her that, and she actually laughed in my face. Not a real laugh, but one of those condescending ones teachers do when they think you're lying. She leaned in closer and said, "Students like you don't write like this. I know you used ChatGPT." I didn't even know how to respond to that. She had been mispronouncing my name all semester, even though I corrected her twice. She told me I had two options. I could admit I used ChatGPT and redo the assignment, or she would report me to the principal for expulsion. I told her again that I didn't cheat, but my voice came out shaky, and I hated that. She smiled like she enjoyed watching me squirm and said, "Fine, rewrite it by hand tomorrow at lunch, in front of me. Then we'll see what you're really capable of." I went home and told my mom everything. Her whole expression changed the second I said those words. "Students like you." She got real quiet and said, "Do what she asks for now." I sat in her classroom the next day and rewrote the whole essay from memory. My hand was cramping by the end, but I didn't care because I knew I was about to prove her wrong. I handed it to her, and she made me stand there while she read every single page. When she finished, she looked up at me with this little smirk and said, "This still sounds like ChatGPT. You probably just memorized what the computer wrote for you. I'm honestly surprised you even showed up." Another 0. I wanted to scream at her, but I refused to give her the satisfaction, so I just grabbed my bag and walked out. My mom called the school that same night, but they said Mrs. Taylor had been teaching there for 15 years, and if she said I used ChatGPT, then I probably used ChatGPT. Nobody was going to help us. My grade was tanking, and I was about to fail English for the first time in my life. Then one night my mom came home with a stack of papers, and she had this look in her eyes like she was ready to go to war. She had filed a public records request for Mrs. Taylor's grading history, and the school had no choice but to release it. We spread everything across the kitchen table, and I noticed it immediately. Every single year, the same thing happened where a small group of students failed her class for cheating. My mom started reaching out to those families, and at first nobody wanted to talk because they had already given up or they were too scared to speak up again. But then one family called back, and they were furious. They said Mrs. Taylor accused their son of using ChatGPT even though he wrote everything by hand. She always sat him in the back of the room and never called on him even when his hand was raised. She humiliated him in front of the entire class and called him a cheater, and he never recovered from it. That family gave us more names, and those families gave us more until we had 12 students total who all had the same exact story, accused of using ChatGPT with no proof. I lined up all their photos on my laptop, and something about them was bothering me, but I couldn't figure out what. My mom leaned over my shoulder and went completely still. She put her hand on my shoulder and said, "Baby, look closer." And then I saw it. Every single student she accused of using ChatGPT looked exactly like me. We filed a formal complaint, and a hearing got scheduled with the school board. I walk into the room with my mom beside me, and my hands won't stop shaking. Mrs. Taylor is sitting across from us, and she's got this confident look on her face like she already knows she's going to win. The superintendent asks me to present, and I take a breath before plugging in the flash drive. The first slide shows grades, and I explain that 12 students over 5 years were all accused of using ChatGPT to cheat. Mrs. Taylor rolls her eyes. The second slide shows names, and every family gave us permission to share their story. Some of them are sitting in the back of the room watching. The third slide shows photos with 12 faces lined up in a row. The room goes completely silent. I watch Mrs. Taylor's confident expression disappear as she stares at the screen. Every single student is the same race, and it's the same as me. The superintendent turns to her and asks, "Do you have an explanation for this?" She opens her mouth, but nothing comes out. Her hands start shaking, and her eyes are darting around the room looking for someone to help her, but nobody will even look at her. The superintendent stands up and says he's seen enough. He called security. As they dragged her out, she started screaming, "People like them ruin everything. They all deserve to fail." The whole room finally saw exactly who she was.